Good evening. So I'd like to take a minute and tell you about my story a little bit. Not really my story, but my family's story. Imagine you get a phone call April 30th, 2007 from a doctor at Children's Hospital of Orange County, and they tell you that your daughter has leukemia. And your daughter's 5 years old at the time. So you can just barely even imagine how your world just completely just turns upside down. One day, she's a typical kindergartner. The next day, she has leukemia. But I will say that one of the very first organizations that came in to talk to us was a representative from the American Cancer Society. And they were very, very grateful that I was open and willing to talk with them about Katie and the decisions and the choices that we had to make. They were very informative, and they really helped out her dad and I very much to be able to make certain decisions on behalf of her health care. I firmly believe that if we could cure childhood cancers, that maybe we wouldn't have cancer. If we can start and stop right then and there, hopefully, I pray that we won't have cancers anymore. Katie spoke earlier and she blew me away. She was very, very good at her speech. I know I was like, oh, I'm such a proud mom. But I want to tell you another little story. My father was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. And as most of us know who have done Relay for many years, pancreatic cancer it's basically, you have months, maybe a year to live. And my dad lived in Northern California at the time, and he called me and he said, I'm really having a hard time getting to my chemo appointments, and I'm having a really hard time paying for medication. And I said, Dad, let me call the American Cancer Society up there and see what they can do, how they can help. And sure enough, they were able to get him rides to his chemotherapy, to his doctor's appointments, different things like that. They had a different program too where people would bring dinners and things like that. And he was on his own in a little senior apartment, and I'm in Orange County and he's in Northern California. So I was very grateful that people stepped up to help my father. There was a point where he couldn't get his medication. He couldn't pay for it. And so I called ACS again in Northern California and I said, is there anything that you can do? What can I do? How much can I pay to get the medication? And they said, you know what, Christina, give us an hour and we'll call you back. And what they did is somehow, I don't know, prayer, whatever it was, but somebody in the Northern California ACS office somehow pulled some strings and was able to get my father the medication that he needed to help prolong his life. And I was eternally grateful because we had an extra 6 months with him because he was able to have medication. So the American Cancer Society has done so much, not only for my family personally, but I know many of you out there who have been affected and touched by cancer. This is why we relay. This is why we raise funds. This is what we keep doing every year, year after year, until one day maybe we won't have to do a relay. We could just come together for a picnic or something like that. But in my heart of hearts, I hope that one day that will happen. If it's not in my lifetime, I hope it's in Katie's lifetime. And everybody asked me why I wear this cowboy hat at every relay. This cowboy hat was my father's, and it's the one thing that I was able to take home from Northern California on my last visit. So I wear this hat in honor of my dad, who was a cowboy, who owned a honky-tonk, lived hard, played hard, and he went out on his own terms. So that's what the American Cancer Society means to me. And I love seeing you all out here. and we're raising money and we're raising funds, and hopefully one day, like I said, we can find a cure. So thank you everybody for listening to my story.